This week on 50 States, 50 Dishes, we're going to the birthplace of our first president, Old Dominion herself, Virginia, to make the state dessert of blueberry muffins. Blueberries are cultivated all over the world, and the word muffin can actually be traced as far back as 1703, making the concept itself only slightly older than our country. Muffins can be a little bit difficult to keep fluffy and be able to aerate just enough, so let's go ahead and get started making some blueberry muffins. These are the ingredients you're going to need to make our blueberry muffins today. Pretty straightforward stuff, pretty standard baking. The first thing that we're going to make is the topping that we're going to put on top of the muffins just before they bake. That's going to be a tablespoon of granulated sugar, a quarter teaspoon of ground nutmeg, and I threw about an eighth of a teaspoon of cinnamon in there because, as covered before, I will always find an excuse to use cinnamon in something. It's a real problem. So you're going to get all that mixed in together, and just like when we made our Cajun spice the other week, you're going to close it up and shake it all up, get it nice and mixed together since it is dry ingredients, and then you're going to set that aside until we're ready to bake. So let's go over and start making our muffins. So the first ingredient you're going to need to make our muffins today is actually a half cup of butter at room temperature. I went ahead and threw that into our mixer and got that started just to start breaking it up. We're going to be moving to hand mixing a little bit later as we have to fold in other ingredients. The second ingredient, continuing the healthy trend with these muffins, is an entire cup of granulated sugar. You're going to put that right on top of the butter, so you're only going to have those two ingredients together. This is actually what inspired me to move to a hand mixing opportunity, because you want to make this as light and fluffy as possible. You want to mix the two together until they are pale and fluffy, so it looks kind of like what I assume snow looks like. Our next ingredient in our hand mixing opportunities is we're going to mix in 2 large eggs, but we're going to do this one at a time. You're going to mix in 1 egg, get it nice and mixed up. Once it's fluffy and light again, you're going to add in that other egg so we don't oversaturate the mix right off the bat. The next ingredients are going to be our teaspoon of vanilla, our 2 teaspoons of baking powder, and our quarter teaspoon of salt. And you can actually put all those in at the same time before mixing them up. They're just our smaller ingredients, and you're really going to start seeing the batter come together at this moment. Whereas before it was just kind of this almost granulated mix, now it's going to start getting that fluffy nature that we really like out of batter. After getting those mixed in together, it's time to give our batter some body to it. So you're actually going to mix in a half cup of milk and 2 cups of flour total, but we're going to do it in halves. So you need a quarter cup of milk and a cup of flour. Put that in, mix it all together, get it nice and mixed up, and then you're going to repeat that step, add in another quarter cup of milk and another cup of flour. Now it's time to make our muffin batter, blueberry muffin batter. So get yourself, I bought about a pint container of blueberries. It's going to take that entire pint and then a little bit of a second pint because it is a 2.5 cups of blueberries for the recipe. If you're using a muffin tin without papers as I did, you're going to need to prepare it the way you would a cake pan. So use butter, shortening, margarine to grease up each of the individual muffin sections, and then you're going to want to put extra flour on top to keep them from being sticky. You're going to want to avoid utilizing any of the sprays like Pam or canola spray, as that can burn to the tin as well as burn the outside of your muffins while cooking. Preheat your oven to 375 degrees. If you have an ice cream scoop, get one of those and it'll give you proper portioning when putting your muffins out. I used about 2 scoops for each of these because it's a full-size muffin tin. When your oven hits 375, go ahead and pop in your muffins for about 17 minutes per batch or until they're nice and fluffy. Bring them out and you've got yourself some Virginia blueberry muffins. So, after that, you should have yourself about 9 good-sized muffins. The original recipe says 18, but I think they were using a cupcake tin. So if you're utilizing a muffin tin, you can actually put about twice as much in each one and get yourself 9 breakfast-style muffins. So for our taste tester this week, we're actually going to have my wife, Allie, who's going to be trying our Virginia blueberry muffins for us for the first time. She's going to be a bit of a guinea pig. And I'm certain you've seen her before helping me with the pie crust and everything like that, and so I'm excited to get her on camera for the first time. So, Allie, are you excited to try these muffins?
Yeah! Now I'm going to shove this muffin in my mouth. That's a good muffin. It's a little thick, but it's hearty and delicious. More muffin.
Well, great. As always, with anything that we make for 50 States, 50 Dishes, be sure to share it with your friends. You're not really going to eat all this food yourself, since most of them serve like 4 to 8 people, unless you are. I don't want to pass any judgment. So tune in next week when we move away from the state for lovers, Virginia, where the state muffin is the blueberry muffin, but it's not the state dessert, which is apparently ice cream. So Virginia's really batting it out of the park when it comes to sweet foods. So let's do ourselves a little bit of Mexican food by going to the southwest to the state of Arizona to make something Tex-Mex related on 50 states, 50 dishes. But stay tuned right now for the trivia question of the week.